Welcome to this episode of the NLN podcast, Nursing Edge Unscripted. I am your host, Kelly Bryant from the National League for Nursing. As applications open for the 2027 Deborah Spunk Lecture, today we're looking back at the history, impact, and evolution of one of the most distinguished lectureships in simulation-based nursing education. For nearly 2 decades, one lecture at the NLN Summit has served as both a tribute and a challenge. A tribute to pioneer in simulation-based nursing education, and a challenge to nurse educators everywhere to keep pushing the field forward. This is the story of the Deborah L. Spunk Memorial Lecture. Deborah Spunk was an educator, innovator, mentor, and leader whose work helped shape the future of simulation in nursing education. As director of the Clinical Simulation Center at the University of Maryland School of Nursing, she advanced the use of computerized patient simulators and helped integrate simulation into the nursing curricula at a time when the field was still emerging. After her death in 2007, the NLN Foundation for Nursing Education and Laerdal Medical Corporation established the Deborah L. Spunk Memorial Lecture to honor her leadership in the design, development, and implementation of simulation in nursing education. Over time, the lecture became more than an annual keynote. It evolved into one of the most distinguished recognitions in simulation-based nursing education and a living timeline of nursing simulation itself, reflecting the questions, challenges, and innovations shaping nursing education across nearly 20 years. The inaugural 2007 lecture set the tone. Pam Jeffries focused on faculty development and the urgent need to prepare educators to use simulation effectively. At that time, schools were rapidly building their simulation labs, but many faculty members lacked formal preparation and skills when it came to simulation. The message was clear. Technology alone would not transform education. Skilled educators would. In 2008, Janet Grady asked, "How far have we come and where do we want to go?" Her Deborah Spunk Lecture reflected a field beginning to examine itself critically, shifting attention from excitement about innovation towards evidence, outcomes, and scholarship. A year later, Sharon Decker emphasized reflection as essential to both learning and leadership. Simulation was no longer simply about recreating clinical scenarios. It was becoming a tool to develop reflective practitioners and educators. By 2010, Susan Cardone-Egren highlighted the growing role of research, national collaboration, and shared educational resources like the Simulation Innovation Resource Center, which we call SIRC. Simulation was becoming more connected, more scholarly, and more standardized across institutions. The 2011 lecture marked the 5th-year anniversary of the series with a panel discussion featuring previous lectures. The moment symbolized how quickly simulation had evolved from emerging innovation to recognized educational strategy, and how Deborah Spunk's legacy has helped build not just a technology movement, but a professional community. And over the next several years, the lecture series expanded alongside the profession itself. Beth Mancini explored simulation competencies and leadership development. Carol Durham emphasized patient safety and interprofessional collaboration. Christina Dreyfus highlighted the growing importance of debriefing and reflective learning. Bonnie Driggers discussed strategic planning and simulation programs as schools adapted to expanding evidence supporting simulation-based education. And in 2016, Janice Palaganas focused on simulation-enhanced interprofessional education, reflecting healthcare's increasing emphasis on teamwork and collaboration. Kathy Lassiter's 2017 lecture examined clinical judgment and transition to practice, while Susan Fernandez in 2018 celebrated the community of innovators who had transformed nursing education through simulation. By 2019, KT Waxman described simulation as an education disruptor. The language itself reflected how far the field had come. Simulation was no longer supplemental. It was reshaping how nursing education could be delivered. And then came 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic disrupted every aspect of nursing education. Clinical sites were closed, campuses were shut down. Educators had to reinvent learning almost overnight. That year, Colette Foyce Dahl delivered the Deborah Spunk Lecture celebrating 200 years of nursing, from oil lamps to laser beams with love. Her presentation connected Florence Nightingale's legacy with the resilience, adaptability, and innovation demanded by the pandemic era. It was also the first, and remains the only, Deborah Spunk Lecture delivered remotely. Even the lecture series itself adapted in real time, mirroring what simulation educators across the world were experiencing. Virtual simulation, online debriefing, and remote collaborations became necessities rather than future possibilities. In 2021, Mary Fay focused on resilience, dialogue, and human connection. Her lecture explored how meaningful debriefing conversations, grounded in curiosity, listening, and respect, can strengthen resilience through connection. After a year of extraordinary strain in healthcare and education, the message resonated deeply. Meaningful learning depends on psychologically safe relationships. In 2022, Kim Layton delivered Nursing Education at a Crossroads. Framed by workforce shortages, burnout, and ongoing concerns about practice readiness, her lecture challenged educators to rethink traditional approaches to clinical education and embrace evidence-informed innovation to better prepare future nurses. And that following year, it was myself, Kelly Bryant, who addressed health equity advocacy, encouraging educators to use simulation to help learners confront bias, navigating difficult conversations, and provide more equitable care through the use of simulation. In 2024, Jared Cudson explored competency-based education in time in grade or grade over time. Drawing lessons from aviation and other industries, the lecture challenged longstanding assumptions about progression and assessment, shifting focus from time spent in training to competencies demonstrated. Then, last but not least, in 2025, Cynthia Bradley brought the lecture series firmly into the era of artificial intelligence with From Headsets to Datasets, empowering nurse educators to use AI in immersive simulation and beyond. Her lecture explored how educators can use artificial intelligence to enhance immersive simulation experiences, analyze learner performance data, and support curriculum development through generative AI tools. Her lecture explored how educators can use artificial intelligence to enhance immersive simulation experiences, analyze learner performance data, and support curriculum development through generative AI tools. It reflected how far the field has evolved, from early conversations about adopting simulation technology to discussions about virtual reality, analytics, and AI-supported education. And the story is still unfolding. The 2026 Deborah Spunk Lecturer has already been selected. Michelle Abersold. Her upcoming lecture, Building Grit, Using Immersive Resiliency Simulations to Enhance the Capacity to Rescue, will focus on how simulation can intentionally cultivate grit, resilience, and moral courage in future nurses. Drawing from immersive simulation experiences involving communication, disaster response, teamwork, and emergency preparedness, Michelle challenges educators to move beyond helping nurses simply survive difficult environments and instead prepare them to act decisively, ethically, and courageously while patient safety depends on it. Across all these years, a remarkable pattern emerges. The Deborah Spunk Lecture has consistently reflected the biggest questions facing nursing education and simulation at any given moment. Early lectures focused on establishing simulation as a credible teaching strategy. Later talks explored reflection, debriefing, leadership, patient safety, collaboration, and research. Most recent lectures have addressed resilience, equity, competency-based learning, and artificial intelligence. In many ways, the lecture series documents the maturation of simulation itself. But perhaps more importantly, it documents the maturation of a community. Again and again, speakers return to themes Deborah Spunk herself embodied: innovation, collaboration, courage, scholarship, and commitment to learners. Her influence extended far beyond simulation labs. It shaped how educators think about preparing nurses for an incredibly increasing complex world. Today's simulation is deeply woven into nursing education. It supports clinical judgment, communication, teamwork, patient safety, leadership development, equity focused care, and immersive digital learning environments. That reality exists in part because pioneers like Deborah Spunk imagined possibilities before others could see them clearly. For nearly 20 years, the Deborah Spunk Lecture has captured where nursing education has been and where it is headed. And now the lecture series enters its next chapter. The 2027 Deborah L. Spunk Memorial Lecture will mark the 21st anniversary of this distinguished tradition, a tradition shaped by educators bold enough to challenge assumptions, advance simulation science, and reimagine how nurses are prepared for practice. Applications and nominations for the 2027 lecture are now open, with submissions due on July 15th. For nearly 2 decades, the Deborah Spunk Lecture has highlighted leaders whose ideas influenced nursing education at pivotal moments in the profession's history. From the earliest conversations about faculty development and simulation implementation to today's discussions surrounding artificial intelligence, resilience, competency-based education, and health equity, each lecturer has helped move the profession forward. Now, the next voice is needed. Perhaps it's a respected colleague at your institution, a mentor who has worked to transform learners and faculty alike, a simulation leader advancing innovation in a meaningful way. Or perhaps it's you. The nomination process itself reflects the spirit of the lecture series. Candidates are sponsored by previous Deborah Spunk lecturers, reinforcing the sense of mentorship, collaboration, and professional community that has defined this tradition from the very beginning. The future of nursing education will demand courageous leadership. It will require educators willing to explore new technologies while remaining grounded in humanity, ethics, patient safety, and learner development. It will require leaders who can help nursing education adapt to challenges we cannot fully predict. That is exactly what the Deborah Spunk Lecture has always celebrated. So as this series moves towards its 3rd decade, consider who should help shape that future. Encourage a colleague to apply, start a conversation with a mentor, or take the step yourself and apply. The next chapter in the history of nursing simulation will be written by educators willing to step forward, share ideas, and lead the profession forward. Thank you for joining us for this special episode of Nursing Edge Unscripted, brought to you by the National League for Nursing. We appreciate your support and look forward to continuing to spotlight the educators, ideas, and innovations shaping the future of nursing education. To stay connected with the future episodes, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or visit us at nursingedge.nln.org. Until next time, thank you for listening.